It's that time of year again where we get to make sure we have all of our orders put in for the rest of this year and then also for the beginning of next year. So I wanted to make a short video to go through all the ins and outs of how to make sure that we can do this. Hopefully you already understand most of this, so feel free to just skip through to the parts you need a refresher on. But from the beginning, in order to get to our Google Sheets, you're going to start at the MCHS Science Department folder. Once you are there, you're going to go to our 21-22 information. And then within there, we have our folder listed order requests. This is where most of you have been going in throughout the year to add any items that you need so that I could go ahead and place those orders and we could send those on to Ruth. So each one of your teams should have one of these folders in here. So for example, what that might look like, I'm just going to pick on our academic biology one since I'm part of putting that in. What we should have so far is anytime you've completed a PO, we should have that material in there. Your warehouse orders, any other orders that have come, for example, from Flynn, from specific scientific warehouses, those should all be placed in there. So we should have our running total going with those. In notes and arrivals, making sure we've actually checked off that those have arrived. So if you haven't had this complete yet for this year, please, your first step is going to be to go through and make sure that anything that you ordered, if it wasn't put in the spreadsheet, I need it to be added to the spreadsheet. If, for example, you put in the warehouse orders, and here we have all of those specific orders. If you did the warehouse and you did on the rec sheet and you just want to put down the date and the total here, that's totally fine. I just want to make sure that I have a total amount for what was came from the warehouse on that. So please make sure you go through and this section is fully complete. So this top section is the one for what we've completed so far. So for example, if we look here at the bottom, that means that academic biology has spent roughly $443 so far this year. If we do a comparison. So for example, I noticed we had a PO for the digestive system stomata lab, but I'm not sure exactly what that receipt came out to be because I don't actually get that receipt. That goes straight to Ruth. So I put a question mark there knowing that whoever did pick that up is going to need to go in and make sure they have that total receipt put into that so we can have our exact numbers. So that is our first step, is to make sure you go in and put in those product costs. If it is something you have already ordered and you've already received it, you do not have to worry about relooking up item numbers or anything like that. Just put the total like Flynn, this is what we ordered, this is the amount of money we spent on those items. Okay, so that is step number one. Okay, step number two, for every group, I have put in a section for needs for the spring of 22, so completing this year, and then also for our needs for the fall of 22, keeping in mind that we will not have money to spend until sometime in the middle of September, so we need to make sure we try to get all of that in now. And then I also put a wish list in here. I will say we don't have nearly as much money as we did last year, since last year we had hadn't been spent because of COVID money. So I wouldn't spend a lot of time on the wish list because I'm not sure very many of those items will be able to be completed, but definitely that's in there for you if you think of something really awesome you'd love to have to try. So this is what I would like you guys to work on completing for me, please. So on here, so for example, notice I only put a few rows in here, which may be plenty for your team, but you may need more. So just remember that if you do need to add more, you can always right click on a cell and do an insert a row, and then an extra row will be added in there. Please keep them within the section because that way I can look at, oh, this is something we need right away. Also put a note on here if this is something you just need by the end of the year, or if this is something that you're going to need right away. So if this is something like I might put in a note, need by 4/15. So I'll know that's something I need to go in and get ordered immediately for you. Okay. So that is kind of the first overall step. Now I'm going to go through a reminder of all the different types of orders that we might have. So I went ahead and put an example in here of Flynn. So first of all, Flynn is our first step for anything we want to order because they tend to be cheaper and they also don't charge us any shipping, which the other companies do. So start with Flynn when you're looking for something, and if you can't find it in Flynn or it's a much better quality somewhere else, go ahead and go to that one next, but let's start with Flynn. So for example, all the science vendors, I have to personally call and I have to give them all of our item numbers, and they have to create a quote for us for me to put in. Okay, and that quote could possibly be less total money than what you put in here. So I'll go back and I will correct that once that's done. But to begin with, I would like you to put this in here. So for example, so if I was going to Flynn, I would go ahead and pick what I need. You can go ahead and put it in the shopping cart. I know sometimes people just send me a picture of the shopping cart and then I try to go in and put in the correct information, but I don't always get it done. So I'd suggest making sure that you put that information in yourself. So for example, this is the iodine we need. I went ahead and snipped it over here to make it easier for myself. So when I copied my item number and the quantity and the amount, I had that directly already written in here. So that way it was easy for me. If it's something you think I might not know exactly what it is, you want to make sure I order the right one, for sure, put a picture over there for me to put in. And that way, once I have all those from Flynn, I'll be able to call and get that quote. And then once you get it and we get the quote, the total price, we can go ahead and adjust that. So that is for all of our science orders. That is when you cannot call and take care of yourself or do anything with yourself. It has to go in here, and then you need to send me a message letting me know I put this in, it's ready to go. So that's that part. Now we also have our POs. So as a reminder, within our 21-22 information, I do have a sheet that goes over how to do our POs. So remember our vendors, we only have HEB, not Walmart or Kroger or anything like that. So that's kind of frustrating, but we do have Home Depot, which I didn't realize we did have. So that's a good thing. So go ahead and get your online order, and then there's our requisition form. So if you can go ahead and put that in, and look up in general how much those items are going to cost. What really matters is separating these food items from the non-food items. So you don't have to list out every single item. You could just say plastic bag storage, and maybe you want a variety like a snack bag and a quart size bag. Go ahead and figure out about how much money that would be, but don't worry about listing out every single one of those. Okay, and then you'll put those costs in. Remember, after you put this in, your cost is probably a little different than what you thought it might be. You can't go over the cost. So definitely put in everything you need, but it might be a little bit less. So if it is less, then that's where you need to let me know this is how much that really is. Or best it would be for you to just go into that spreadsheet and then adjust the numbers once that you've picked those materials up. Okay, so with this, put in your requisition order to the warehouse. Save this as a PDF, send it to both me and to Ruth, and ask for that to be ordered, and I will then approve it. And then make sure within that order request, for example, here's PO, and then that's saying exactly what that item is. It would be nice if we went ahead and put like HEB wherever it's coming from, but most of that's where those are coming from. And then we're putting in our total product cost there. So if you're putting for something you need for the rest of this year, you're going to put it in the red. If you're putting in stuff like, oh, we're going to need a lot of baggies and everything for the beginning of next year, go ahead and put them down here, because that just kind of helps me keep separated which things we need to get when. Okay, so that is our requisition for any POs for our warehouse vendors. So for our warehouse, not vendors, for our warehouse, go ahead and do the same thing. You can go ahead and fill out the requisition form yourself for, go to the warehouse catalog, fill that form out, go ahead and save that as a PDF, send it to me. If you would like to, You can go ahead and put all of those into here, but it could be a large amount, especially if you're doing different colored papers and things like that. And if that's the case and you want to just put the warehouse order and go ahead and put in the total product cost there, and then send me that warehouse order, then that's fine. You don't have to put those all in separately if they're already in the requisition form on that one. Okay, then we also have, let's see what else. Oh, Amazon. Okay, so if you try to buy something at all those other places and you can't find it or it's super expensive, here's how you do the Amazon order. So on the Amazon order, when you go in and you find something you need, so for example, I've already created a list. So I'm going to go in, say add to list. I already created a list as an example, but you can just go create a list. I created a list and labeled it my Acabiology 322 order. And then I'm going to go view my list. And then here's everything I put in my list so far. These are things that I would like Ruth to order for me, for example. So I have already shared it with her, but here's what you would do. Go to your share. Now, I know we had some problems, so make sure you're sharing it with Ruth Santiago and not her maiden name of the Morales. So make sure it's Ruth Santiago. Go ahead and also put my name in, which may or may show up. So you may have to, type it in completely. So that way I can also see what is being added. Apparently it doesn't think I exist. Maybe it's because I'm already completely on here because this is my list. So go ahead and add, go ahead and add me in there though. And then you can go ahead and hit save. And then once you are ready to go, then when you go to the person that you have shared it with, wait, let me go back. You can also generate a public link. So that way you can also copy the link. So what I would do is go ahead and share it with both of us and then also copy that link and go ahead and paste that into the email to both Ruth and I, and that way it's both on there. And again, for that, you can go into your list here. So if I'm ordering something from Amazon and this is my star prizes, and then I'm going to go ahead and put in my total amount there. Let's see, and my estimated total is $39.97. So I'm going to go ahead and go in there and put in my $39.97. Okay, so you don't have to put in every single thing separately because that's a lot of extra work, but go ahead and put that total amount in because that's going to keep a running total for me at the bottom so I can see what our orders are looking like. So hopefully that helps with that. I am sure there are more questions and I'm sure I didn't explain that completely, but I hope that gives you a quick overview of how to fill everything in. As always, I can come in and help you at any time, so let me know.